Hello there, guys, I'm Ham. This is my channel AGP, Astral Gaming Project. And I'm so excited to upload my first video. Your kind support encourages me to continue creating more content for you. So if you like this video, honor me and subscribe, hit the bell icon to be notified of my new videos, press the like button, and reflect your precious thoughts and ideas in the comment section. Well, as an artist, I pay attention to details regarding design and artistic features obvious to everyone or less grabbing to some. The following descriptions are according to my standpoint and may have some ups and downs. So feel free to add up and share your thoughts. I have tried to divide the video into several parts to magnify details more specifically. The video game Lords of the Fallen has been around the corner for a while now, and many of you might have played it so far. I did my first playthrough a while back, and quite frankly, I'm deeply attached to this game. As a crazy huge fan of the From Software's games and mainly Souls genre, such as the Dark Souls series, Sekiro, and the recent masterpiece The Elden Ring, I decided to run a new Game Plus and see if I could experience things that may have slipped through my fingers and be more precise and focused on the design and story. So without further ado, let's dive into the topic. Character design. As a designer for over a decade, I'm astonished by the subtle, yet dark and harsh nature of the characters in Lords of the Fallen. The features, lore, and appearance each character presents are the outcome of a professional team. Believe me, it takes a ton of effort to achieve such an amazing result. Overall character design, especially for old historical worlds, is a very hard thing to pull off. Meaning, as an art director or a concept artist, you have to have an ocean of knowledge about history and the aesthetics used in resembling eras. You cannot just Google medieval fashion and boom, create a bunch of characters out of reference images you think might work. The character physics are well designed and their silhouette shapes are robust. In simple words, characters are easily noticeable from every distance. A good character silhouette helps players to notice and differentiate the enemies and NPCs, both from near or afar. Another thing valuable to mention is the character line of action. The line of pose or line of action is a term used mainly to define the main anatomical expression of a character, which is to show the dominant dynamic form that character holds. For example, imagine a witch. The line of action is mainly a curved line from head to toe to show the viewers its characteristics. You cannot just draw characters in a stiff, rigid form and expect viewers or players to visually interact with it. Each character needs to be shown with a certain set of attributes, whether it is a monster or a boss. Knowing all this, I highly suggest you check out artstation.com and search Lords of the Fallen and review all of the phenomenal artwork they have done in that regard. My favorite characters in this game are the Light Reaper and the Judge Cleric the Radiant Sentinel, who is divine at a level that the first I saw her, I kneeled willingly and wanted her to bless me with her spear. Then she crushed me like a bug. Environment design. There is no doubt it is such a wonderful experience to walk among the gloomy, dark world of Lords of the Fallen. Yet I wanted to see some more exciting elements both in normal and umbral worlds. You know, the idea behind traversing between these two worlds is breathtaking. I utterly loved the creativity, although there are some gaps here and there. For instance, to add more liveliness to the surroundings, there could be some extra things going on. For example, lightning in the sky and moving creatures like dragons in far areas. Things could be added in the umbral world. For instance, snake-like figures crawling through holes, burning ashes, floating in the air, and so on. I'm sure that the HexWorks team would consider such improving changes in the next title. Another tiny problem I think exists in environment design is that sometimes players find themselves lost or confused on their path. Such issues can easily be fixed by focusing on specific and iconic objects, colors, and features. My conclusion is the environment design in this game is unrivaled and feels gorgeous. The architectural design instantly drags the players right back to the European medieval era. Castle fortifications, vaults, oculus, pillars, repeated patterns, ramparts, and ornaments all in all indicate a unique sensation so deep that you feel you are part of the scene. The favorite location I find eye-catching the most is the lower Calrath, where the buildings and houses are all on fire. You could sense a rage and ongoing fury all over the place. Armor and weapons. In my opinion, the armor and weapon design is the strong suit in the Lords of the Fallen. As you know, the game has a historical structure, and it is such a difficult job to convey the vibes so accurately. The hardest part in developing such video games is to patch your ideas and design on top of the historical references and apply changes in a way that doesn't end up grotesquely off. The weapon choice in this game is quite awesome due to the options you have. From main weapons to different catalysts and range weapons like hand, crossbows, and spells, they all work very well in various situations. One of the features I found fun to play around with is the boss weapon special attacks, which are achievable through doing certain things, gestures, or missions. I managed to get some of them. A compelling fact I love about this game is that despite the attributes tied to the armor parts, like different types of resistance stats, you can mix them to your liking. I know it is wrong in a way, but I love to explore through the armor sets and make my badass-looking character variation. And you know what? It works pretty awesome. The Tinks option is a nice way to add more fun to the game, but the colors are just a tiny bit muddy and dark. I found the Abiding Defender, the Pyro Cultist, the Paladin, and the Weeping Abez armor sets more outstanding than the others. My favorite weapons in terms of design and aesthetics are Jeffrey's Dagger, Pieta's Sword, the Flayed Axe, the Putrid Child Sword, the Judge Cleric's Corrupted Sword, and the Grinning Axe. In terms of power and function, the best of the best weapon is a pair of fungus-encrusted pickaxes. Boss fights. Bosses in Lords of the Fallen are cleverly created. The most exciting aspect of boss design and boss fights is that they vary from human figures to gargantuan monsters and demons. Bosses employ a vast array of movesets and offer a completely different experience. Color palettes and physics for the bosses are very well put together, which helps the players distinguish their characteristics way easier. My favorite bosses are the Tancred, Master of Castigation, Spurned Progeny, and the Hollow Crow. The sound, the voice, the music, the sound design, voice acting, and music composition are some of the key factors worth highlighting in this game. The eerie sounds you can hear in the background, spooky noises coming from unreachable corners, demons growling in the shadows, and the sound effects are mind-blowing. My favorite part of sound design is the howling noises you can hear in the caves. The sound of swords colliding upon each other. Enemies shouting and hurling towards the player all resemble a realistic battle scene. Speaking of which, the sound design in this game reminded me of the well-known title, The Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, which is a great example of a surreal atmosphere with dense layers of sound and effects. Voices and acting have been done at a level where you can close your eyes and imagine the story behind each character. The voice actors in Lords of the Fallen are the best of the best, and the emotions channeled through their dramatic dialogues can make you empathize with all of the NPCs and characters in an instant. My favorite ones are the voices of the Iron Wayfarer and Pieta.
I always wondered if there were others.
And to think I raised my sword to you.
Music is unparalleled and perfect, especially during the boss battles. It is quite obvious Chris Velasco and Knut Avenstrup, along with the Budapest Scoring Orchestra and Choir, did a phenomenal job on the soundtracks. Wow! The composition of strings, choir, and layers introduces players to a whole new level of aesthetics. I'm speechless about how otherworldly and magnificent the music of this game is. But the one that pierced through my soul is the Anathema, which plays during the first phase of the Judge Cleric the Radiant Sentinel fight. To be honest, it brought tears to my eyes when I felt how majestic a piece of music can be. I felt like a soldier of God and ready to become a martyr. Alas, my belly is big and does not fit into real armor. I think I'm going to look more like the Kung Fu Panda than a crusader. Spells and magic. The number of spells and magic and the way they are categorized is kind of satisfying. The hue and color variety indicate a whole new vibe during the game. Whenever you change from, let's say, holy to an umbral set of spells, you feel like you are in a different playstyle, which adds to the entertaining experience. There are some issues in the way, though. Some spell execution methods are slow and hold you open to enemy attacks. Another thing that bothers me is that jumping through to spell catalyst can be annoying at a level you forget about it in the first place. Let's say you have chosen certain umbral spells, and you suddenly decide to shift to holy spells for a certain boss. You change the catalyst, yet you have to choose all the demanding spells one by one. I know some rings allow the players to mix spells, but if by default, there were some options to relate your chosen set of spells to its catalyst, it would be easier to change them often. My favorite set of spells are Lambent Feint, Latimer's Javelin, Umbral Agony, Lacerating Weapon, Infernal Hounds, and Orio's Judgment. Visual effects. Lord Almighty. Only God knows how difficult it is to execute special effects and effect animations. The dynamics, area of effect, start to finish, dissolve process, and so many others are just a tiny part of the special effect design. Man, I have witnessed people cry about the number of revisions and changes that happen during big projects. It is an elaborate part of the video game design process, and despite it being so hard to bring to the compositing, yet it is so satisfying and enjoyable. With all that said, imagine all to be executed over a video game with a historical structure. You cannot use exaggerated lights, glow, explosions, spell animations, timing, or colors you use for a modern project. Everything must share the same personality yet be creative, and in addition, have the essence of the era in which the game takes place. My favorite special effect is the space warp while transitioning from the Umbral world to the normal world. I would prefer if there were some extra effects during this transition, like the water drops on the character's body splashing around while doing the transition. UI and UX. The UI and UX designs are acceptable in Lords of the Fallen, yet there is room for improvement. Accessibility is good and smooth. However, the main issue I have with UI and UX is the sorting and the categorization. Anytime you browse through your inventory, the messy gathering of the items could easily drive you nuts. If players had options for filtering, for example, daggers, axes, swords, etc., it would lean more toward players' convenience. One more thing to mention is that if there was any option to mark the weapons and items, it would be a lot nicer, and another thing absent in this game is storage or stash. That would come in handy as well. If I could change some things in UI design, I would go for the eye design and umbral status and make the watching eye a bit more popped and inflated, and as its gauge is nearly filled up, I would add a stressed movement for the eyeball like it is rolling around fast to find the player. As for the vigor counter flame, I would prefer a moving flame over a still image of a flame. I'm not saying it is bad, but the soul flame gauge could be glowing on and off and the vigor flame could be animated instead. I am quite certain I don't have OCD, but some of the pictures and icons are not located in the center. And I guess I have made a new nightmare for people with symmetry obsession. Remember, a video game is the outcome of so many people working in technical and artistic fields, and it is obvious that their efforts and dedication are the reason we can lay hands on such amazing products. In the end, it is worth mentioning that even though there are technical issues here and there, and some may not find this game that memorable, and also HexWorks' journey is inspired by artistic approaches from some other titles, Lords of the Fallen has a strong, independent personality and offers a variety of playstyles, endings, and visually astounding imagery. It has indeed the potential to become a masterpiece in upcoming titles in the future. Appreciate your time, and thank you guys for watching. If you liked this video, honor me and subscribe, hit the bell icon so you can be notified every time I upload new content, press the like button, and share your opinions in the comment section. See you in the next video. Keep on being awesome.